Some people say that the most important aspect of Christmas is Jesus. Some say it is spending time with family and loved ones. But although people hope to focus on a variety of other things during the holiday season, the simple truth of the matter is that almost everyone who celebrates Christmas feels the pressure to give gifts to those around them. But what does this mean for the economy? Every year, the United States spends more than $600 billion on Christmas. Simple economics would state that spending, and therefore gift-giving, boosts a country's overall GDP and creates jobs for people within the retail sector. But the worn-out narrative that's sold to consumers that our economy depends on Christmas spending is actually considered by some economists to be a myth. Furthermore, some records indicate that gift-giving actually produces an enormous amount of economic waste. And while all gifts aren't made equal, this is especially true for gift givers that don't know their recipients well enough to give them something of value to them. You're watching Wealthy Buddha, and today we're taking a look into the economics of gift giving. The commercialization of Christmas in America began in the 19th century. German immigrants were the first to give gifts for Christmas and make the holiday focused on children. They also introduced America to St. Nicholas, which became a popular story that eventually morphed into the creation of Santa Claus. These were all, of course, great marketing opportunities. Marketers in the big cultural centers of the Northeast, like New York and Boston, saw the personification of Christmas as an opportunity to sell goods, and began to associate this early image of Santa Claus with their advertisements in the 1840s. However, the first mass advertising began in the 1920s and 30s when companies began using psychological theories to drive their campaigns. They began marketing a Christmas experience in which children will love their parents and families will be happy together, as long as they buy their stuff. These same marketers also worked to standardize Christmas in order to help make the celebration even more popular. They created mass advertising campaigns on the radio with brand-related jingles and sponsored programs. Between the 1930s and 1950s, pop culture songs like White Christmas by Bing Crosby, Santa Claus is Comin' to Town by Fred Coots and Haven Gillespie, and Happy Holiday by Irving Berlin also helped sell the idea of what the ideal Christmas should look like. Stores in major cities across the United States reinforced this standardized image of Christmas by using massive holiday displays to create the ideal Christmas mood. Macy's New York department store also helped develop the image of Christmas as a business opportunity when it organized its first Thanksgiving Day parade in 1924, a parade which has traditionally launched the holiday shopping season. The modern image of Santa Claus, jolly and fat with a red suit and boots, actually came from Coca-Cola advertising campaigns from the 1930s. This cross-marketing strategy to reach a mass audience always carried the same message: Santa Claus is going to bring gifts to the children. With the newfound pressure placed on the parents of these children to actually buy the gifts to place under their trees, came the commercialized Christmas we know and love today. A lot of sentimentality is attached to having a lot of presents that parents sacrifice financially to purchase. And the main beneficiaries of that sentiment may be the merchant who sold the gifts rather than the recipient. Overextending financially on Christmas for emotional reasons is a common problem, as credit repair agencies know. Credit card debt usually spikes during the holidays and then must be paid off for the rest of the year at high interest rates. This is commonly referred to as the holiday debt hangover. Economically, the social obligation for people to spend more than they actually have on Christmas might create short-term gains, but ultimately it just inflates the credit bubble. In other words, Christmas spending may prop up the economy, but it only props it up on stilts. With all of the financial sacrifices people make during the holidays in order to buy gifts for their loved ones, one would hope that these gifts would at least be as valuable to their recipients as they cost to buy in the first place. However, according to Joel Waldfogel's 1993 paper, The Deadweight Loss of Christmas, this isn't always the case. In Waldfogel's study, people were asked to consider the gifts they had received during the holidays and estimate what the giver had paid for each gift, as well as the minimum amount of cash they would accept in lieu of the gift, ignoring any sentimental value. From these responses, Joel calculated a yield for each gift, or the ratio of the recipient's value to the giver's expenditure. The average yield from this study ended up being 83.9%. Because of this, Waldfogel argued that gift giving creates a deadweight loss, which is an economic loss by one party which is not balanced by a gain for another. For example, if someone were to buy something that costs $50 for themselves, they'll only do so if that thing was worth $50 to them. On the other hand, if someone spends $50 buying a gift for someone else, they run the risk of spending $50 on something that would be worth nothing to the recipient. Joel estimates that ill-chosen gifts cause between $4 billion and $13 billion a year in economic waste. However, most of this waste derives from gift givers who are not in close contact with their recipients. Parents and significant others usually do a pretty good job of choosing gifts which are of value to their children and partners. The problem arises when people have an obligation to give, but know nothing about what the recipient wants. In this scenario, Waldfogel suggests that cash is a superior choice as opposed to blindly buying a gift that may contribute to the deadweight loss problem. However, in the 20 years since Waldfogel wrote his original paper, another solution to the deadweight loss of Christmas has arisen as a very popular option among holiday gift givers. That solution comes from the enormous growth in gift cards as a gift option, which are, from the standpoint of economic theory, equivalent to giving cash. Gift cards seem to avoid the awkwardness of giving cash, and their immense popularity make them a market solution that accounts for around a third of holiday gift giving. The idea underlying the deadweight loss of Christmas is the most fundamental idea of economics, that individuals are best suited to make their own decisions, and when others make their decisions for them, not always, but in general, those decisions are not well matched with the preferences of the ultimate consumer. Gift cards allow consumers to make their own choices based on their own preferences, and therefore, if you're ever in doubt of what to give your nieces and nephews during Christmas time, a gift card could be the way to go. Of course, gift giving isn't all bad for the economy. The holiday season is a major source of employment and income for many in the retail sector, and it is a time when many businesses see an uptick in sales. Gift giving also stimulates economic growth by increasing demand for goods and services. As long as gift givers make conscious choices and are realistic in the value their gifts will provide to their recipients, even the economic waste of Christmas deadweight loss can be avoided. Overall, since commercial Christmas is here to stay, at least for the time being, we can all hope that the underlying sentiment of Christmas, to care for and spend time with our loved ones, outweighs everything else. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and from all of us here at Wealthy Buddha, happy holidays.